Hi, welcome to Camp Happy Mail. Thank you for joining me today for another crafty card making video. Today we are going to make a card using a set by Altenew. This set is called Eclectic Bouquet and it is beautiful. All of their sets are just amazing. I don't know who does the illustrations for them, but they really struck gold when they found this person. So this is the image that we're going to be using. There are 3 flowers on this and they're marked A, B, and C, which is great because the stencils are a little complex. So we're not going to actually use the stamp set today. We're going to use the 3D embossing folder and the stencils, but this is what the overall image looks like. The stencils for it come in 3 parts. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then there's these masks, and I'm not sure how to use all of this yet, but we're going to figure it out together. And then it does have a die set with it to go with the stamped images. We're not going to use this today, but maybe another day. We might actually use some of this on the sentiments. We'll see. I don't know what sentiment I'm going to put on this yet. And then there is the 3D embossing folder, which is just absolutely beautiful. So I have already gone ahead and run these through the Big Shot so that I have this part of it done to save us some time because the stenciling will take a little bit. And I did 2 just in case I mess one up. Rule of thumb, I always do 2 just in case. That way, if I do mess up one, I don't have to stop what I'm doing and drag out the die cut machine and make another one. So always do 2. And if you don't mess one up, then you have one to make later. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And I am going to be referring to this guide today. Altenew is very good at how they do their packaging. They give you some card examples for how you could lay out the images to make your own cards. And then there's some examples, and then they even show you what colors they use on them. And then they have the layering guide, which is absolutely wonderful, especially with a stencil like this that is so complex. Each of the stencils have divided lines on them, meaning that you stencil this part and then you do this part and then you do this part and this part. Because if you try to lay the stencil down on the image, all these pieces are not going to line up all at the same time. So I am going to be referring to this guide just to make sure that I can get my stencils put into the right places. And then they show you some alternate products that you can use to create your cards. And if you want to color one just on the packaging, it's right there. And then I'm sure you could probably cut that up and use it as a card if you wanted to. I choose to not do that because I like to keep all of my stuff how it came because there's other examples. So let's go ahead and open this up. And I'm going to set this down in front of me so that I can use it as a guide. Okay, so this card is from my friend Charlene. She likes a lot of really pretty colors. She likes greens and pinks and aquas, blues, and actually I should trade these out for some aqua colors. Let's do that. I know that aqua is one of her favorite colors, so let's switch out these blues and let's use these instead. So the flowers on this are not going to be completely realistic because we are going to do them in her favorite colors. So we got the pinks, the aquas, and the purples. And with the aqua, I could probably use the blue blending brush with that. I don't think I have an aqua one. Nope, I don't have one dedicated to aqua, so I think we'll go ahead and start a new one. So typically with my blending brushes, I use 1 brush per color family on all of my inks, with the exception of the Tim Holtz Distressed Inks and the Distressed Oxides. I have separate brushes for those. But otherwise, like my Stampin Up Inks and my Catherine Polar and my Simon Hurley inks, I use the same blending brushes. And the only thing that I make sure that I do is I clean them off really well before I dip them into the new inks, and then also in between the different shades of inks. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to clean off these blending brushes before I start to use them, because I can see I got some ink already on these. And I want to make sure that I don't contaminate these inks with whatever was on these last. So I am going to use a paper towel. I know a lot of people use a microfiber cloth, but I'm using a paper towel for a special reason. I'm going to make something out of this paper towel with the residual ink after we are all done. I'm gonna film the first part of it at the end of this video, and then there will be a whole separate video showing what I've made out of all of these things where I've cleaned my brushes. So let's get started by starting to clean off the brushes. Now I wanna make sure to do this in a certain order so that my aqua fits in here. And I think so it'll be green, the aqua, the blue, the purple, and the pink. So let's start with the green, which is cleaning off my brush. You don't have to do this. This is just something that I discovered a couple of weeks ago, that if I clean my brushes off on a paper towel, then I can still use that residual ink on something. And I thought it was kind of cool. And so now instead of dirtying a microfiber cloth that I'm going to have to throw in the wash with other things, I just do it on these, and then everything gets used, including this paper towel. So we don't have any turquoise right now, or aqua. So let's clean off the blue one. Oh, lots of blue. That's pretty. And we're not gonna actually use this blue because we put the blue ink pads over here, and we're gonna use the aqua instead. But it's okay for this to be cleaned off. It's always good to clean your brushes every now and then. And I do give mine a good soak in some Dawn. But for now, this is gonna be just fine. I really like the idea of using a paper towel to clean these off. And I know this isn't for everybody to clean this way. I know some people would rather do the microfiber cloth, but nothing is gonna go to waste here, including the ink and the paper towel. So I'm perfectly good with not having that inky towel to throw in the laundry. Okay, and I think that'll be good to start us out. Okay, so now let's get our crafty mat, and grip mat. So this is a grip mat. This is out of the stamp wheel, the Altenew Stampwheel. I will demonstrate using that tool at some point, but for now I just have the mat out of it. And it's really, really great for sticking your paper down and holding it in place. Okay, so I've got mine lined up like the image shows. Let's move these back a little bit. So we're gonna start with the first stencil, which is stencil number 1. All of the Altenew stencils have a number out on them to tell you which order to do them in. And then you can see on here, maybe there, the way that the lines are divided to show you that you stencil 1. So this is A1, A2, and then there aren't any letters by these. So I'm guessing that this is probably greenery. Yeah, this is gonna be greenery. So A1, and according to the diagram, this is A1, the flower. And I think they're doing theirs in, how many shades are they using? I think they're just using 2 shades. So I think we can get away with the lightest and the medium for each of these. Okay, so let's try that and see how it goes. You want to get it lined up as close as you possibly can. Okay, so we're going to start with pink, and I'm going to start with Blushing Bride. And this is the lightest pink that we're going to use. And we're just going to blend this on. And now your blending does not have to be perfect. The 3-dimensional aspects of the image are going to pick up your ink and make it look darker in places. And I think that's going to be great. So we'll clean this one off. And then A2. is the next one. And so this one lines up over top of the other. Okay, and now we're going to use our medium ink on this, or in this case, this will be the darkest one that we use. And this is Flirty Flamingo. And this is just going to darken up some of the areas. Okay, clean off the paintbrush. Close the pink ink pad. Okay, that's pretty. It's not exactly lined up. It's interesting. Okay, well, it was lined up where it's supposed to go, so I guess it's just free-formed highlighted. Yeah, it's just free-form. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and rinse off this stencil, and I'll be back. Okay, so now the green parts of this, my stencil's still a little bit wet here. So the green on this is this part, so we need to move this stuff out of the way. Okay, and then they're showing that this is in darker shade of green. And they've actually got 3 shades going, so let's do this in the darker green. This is Old Olive. Okay, that's very pretty. And then the last piece is down here. And then this is also, okay, so there's a very tiny piece here that's really thin. So I'm gonna have to be careful whenever I ink blend over top of that. So let's just brush up in the direction that it's going so that I don't accidentally bend that piece. Okay, that's beautiful. Okay, so clean the green off. All right, I'm gonna wash this one off. Now we'll move on to stencil number 2. So stencil number 2, B1 and B2, which is this flower. So let's think. Pink, purple, and teal. Yeah, I think we'll do it that way. Okay. So let's do the light shade of purple. It doesn't really take a lot of ink to do these. You can see I barely inked up that brush. Okay, and then let's put this one away. And then we need the next shade. This is Highland Heather. That first one was Fresh Freesia. And this is Highland Heather, for those that are keeping track. All right, that's really pretty too. Okay, so I'm gonna go clean the purple off of this one. Now, like with Stencil A, Stencil B also has some greenery on it, and actually it has, oh, it has the third flower on it. It doesn't have greenery on it. Stencil 3 has the rest of the greenery on it. Okay, so let's clean up the purple ink pad. Yay, so now we get to do this one. This is Pool Party. So let's see. So these cards really do come together pretty quickly. It's just a matter of, I think the hardest part is getting the stencil lined up. It's also a little hard because I don't want to be directly in your camera view, so I can't be right over top of it to make sure that it's perfectly aligned. So I'm kind of looking at it from an angle and hoping that it's there. I think we'll go with that. New blending brush. Ooh. The Altenew blending brushes are really, really super nice. I actually like these ones over the brushes with the handles on them. But I do use both. I also use the finger daubers every now and then. It just depends what I'm working on. But I recently got some of these to try out, and I really like them. And I think from now on, it'll be these that I get instead of the more of the brush ones. But I do still like the brush ones a lot. Okay. But in all honesty, I don't think I'll be buying any brushes for a while because I still have I have enough for all of my color families. So unless they start to fall apart or something. And there's no ink to come out of that one. Well, that's kind of a bummer that we won't have any teal on here. We might have to ink blend some on it just so we do have some on it, you know? So it's kind of cheating because I'm not really cleaning off my blending brush, but I'm just adding some teal color into this so we don't have a gap. And you may say, hey, that's a waste of ink. Well, it's really not, because we're going to use this. It's not going to be used on this card, but it will be used for some cards. Okay, I think that'll be fine. Now we'll really clean off the brush. Okay, so let's put this one away. And then this piece. And I'm not sure how this piece goes in. So I bet you it goes just like that. Okay. So let's get our dark teal. This is Coastal Cabana. And I may not have had to do that because, well, Coastal Cabana. But I think this will just add to it because there's not a whole lot of ink on this blending brush to be cleaning it off. Okay. That's pretty. Okay, I don't know if that's exactly how it was supposed to be. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Okay. So let me clean this stencil off and then we will get the greenery put on here. Okay, so for the last stencil, which is stencil 3, this is more greenery. Stencil 3. I'm not sure where these pieces are. They might be the other image that comes with this, actually. Yeah, okay, so stencil 3, this piece goes to this image right here so that you can color those pieces in. Okay, so tell me something. The way that I've been working through my videos is a lot of times I'm figuring things out for the first time, then I'm showing them to you. Do you prefer videos like that where we're all kind of learning together? Or would you rather that I had everything all figured out and just went through and just showed you step by step how to make something? What is your thoughts? How would you like to see things done? How do you learn best? Do you like to see things being figured out so that whenever you go to do it, you have a better idea because you watch somebody else figure it out? Or would you rather that all the steps were figured out so that I just went through and said, step 1, you do this, step 2, you do this, step 3, you do this, without all of the figuring out, like us trying to figure out what this piece went to, and it's actually this, or you know, the other pieces, or how to lay them down. Let me know what you think. What kind of videos do you like? Because I can do them both ways. I like doing them this way because I think it's fun to figure things out and show things for the very first time. Mainly because that shows you that anybody can do this. If I can figure this out, you can figure this out. And I personally like videos like that where the person is just playing around trying to figure some things out and trying to figure out what works best. Because sometimes you discover new things like this. But I also do like the videos where it's just clean cut. This is step 1, you ink blend this. This is step 2, you ink blend this. This is step 3, you ink blend that. And there is nothing to figure out. It's already known. The person knows exactly what they're doing. So let me know in the comments which way you prefer. So, okay, so this greenery here, it looks like they're using the lighter shade and then the middle shade. So let's go lighter first. And this is Pear Pizzazz. Yeah, sometimes for me with new products, when I see people using them, sometimes I learn better whenever I see them using it for the first time too, and they're trying to figure it out because, you know, we're all card makers here and everybody has different ways of figuring things out. And I always think it's interesting to see how somebody else figured something out. And then if I decide to get that product, then, you know, that helps me because I'll remember, oh, so-and-so did it this way, or they ran into this issue, so I'll know ahead of time. And sometimes that also helps me decide if it's a product I want to buy or not. You know, if the person that's doing the videos, oh, and I switched, this is Granny Apple Green, and I'm just going in and adding a little bit of dark to this. Not a whole lot. But if I see that somebody's working with something, like paper piecing, I do like paper piecing to an extent, but there are some, here we go again, there are some dies out there for paper piecing that are just pure craziness in my opinion. And wait, we might need that again. So by watching somebody else do it and watching what they go through, that helps me to decide, and we've got a stem here. What do we do about that stem? That stem is not colored apparently. That's interesting. But you know what? That's gonna bother me that that's like that. So we're gonna fix that. Okay, so but like that, I mean, something like that might deter you from buying this because, well, it's not there and then you have to take extra steps to fix it. But like back to the example of paper piecing, I like paper piecing, but there's some sets out there that the paper piecing is just pure craziness in my opinion. And although I might like the look of it, after seeing what somebody has to go through to create with it, I knew immediately that's not for me because it's going to be more than what I want to deal with. So I do like to see people using stuff for the first time and figuring it out, because then that shows me what it would really be like to use that. But I also do like the quicker videos where the person just shows, this is exactly what you do, this is exactly how it works, and there is no figuring out because they've already spent a bunch of time and figured it out. So again, let me know in the comments which way you prefer. Okay, so we're just gonna blend the Pear Pizzazz onto here. And on these two little leaves down here. And again, I'm not trying to be perfect with the blending. I want it to be kind of splotchy in a way because leaves are not perfect. Okay, and then we're going to go in with some Granny Apple Green and just give this a little bit of darkening to these. And now, you know what, this stem down here, oh, I still got some leaves up here. Now where are those at? Oh, maybe right here? Yep, that's where those are. Okay. So let's go ahead and get these put in. And then let's do the other green, which is Granny Apple Green, one of my favorite Stampin' Up! Greens. Just a little bit, okay. So now, this stem down here. So they give you these masks, and I don't know if this is how they're supposed to be used. So this one would technically go over that one. And this one goes over that one, which means that this one has to go over this one. So by putting these down, that's going to help me a little bit. And I'm also I guess taping them together was a good thing, but I also should have taped them down, huh? So I'm also going to come down along side of that stem because I just want the stem to be green and not the cardstock beside it. Okay, I can be happy with that. All right. So that's our panel. It's very, very pretty. Now see, there's stems here too. Did I miss the stems on the stencils? Nope, I didn't. Okay, so you know what? We're gonna do the same thing over here. I'm going to mask these off so I can get the stems put into these. So let's put this piece back over here. That's gone too far because there's one in the middle there. And I apologize if I'm getting in your camera view. I guess that whenever you use the stamp images on these, then you don't actually stencil color onto these stems. But if you're using the embossing folder, then those stems end up staying white. And I would rather that they had a little color to them, but that's just me. So my card, so I'm gonna put a little bit of green on them. Because otherwise it looks like my leaves are just floating out there. And they're not. Okay, now I did get a little bit out over here, but I think that'll be okay. And my stenciling is a little bit off up here. And there's another stem here that's not, and another one here that's not colored. Okay, this is, honestly, it's a little frustrating at this point. Why these parts weren't included on the stencil. So just be aware, if you buy this set, you may have to do some creative masking if you don't want your stems to be white. Okay, let's do this one first. Okay, so now those are connected. So we've got a little one here. And I got one more up here, and this one's going to be tricky because it's actually curved. And I probably could have just left these go and let them be white, but it just looked like my leaves were all disconnected. Okay, so now that everything is connected, now we can finish this card. I might have to look into this one a little further to see if there's documentation or something around about that. So let's finish off this card. So I was debating which color I wanted to use for the matting layer on this. I do want to matte this in a color. The card base is going to be white. And I pulled out color cardstock that was each of the colors that are on here, and it just seemed to draw too much attention to just that one color. So I decided that I'm going to matte this in gold. And I think that will be super pretty. So I've got some dies. And I don't think, like, this already has a texture to it. So I think I'm just gonna cut it as a straight rectangle. I don't think we're gonna use the stitch dies this time. So this is the Hero Arts Rectangle Infinity dies. And the largest die in the set cuts out an A2 size matte. So we're going to use that one. And then because I want to be able to see that some, we might do this size. Although that might be too much of a matte. How much of the flowers are we going to lose if we do that? Oh, we won't be losing that much though. That would be a very thin matte. I think we'll do the thicker one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to die cut this out of the gold. Just So I just trimmed this down a little bit because I need to be able to put this at an angle on my plate. Okay, and there's our matting layer. Okay, and then for this piece, I'm going to use this as a guide because I'm going to use my trimmer to trim this. I don't want to run this back through my die cut machine because it will flatten out these flowers, and I want them to have that dimensional feel to them. So I'm just going to lay the die down here to help me decide where do I want to trim this at. So we'll go here, and then we'll do across the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to trim these, and that will fit nicely on there. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue this together. And this card is for Charlene, and Charlene actually is the one that made my little glue topper for my pin, for my glue. Super, super pretty. I absolutely love it. So that's who this card is for. Now, normally I would have tried to salvage some of this in the middle, but it got kind of beat up from my plate. My plate is very, very well loved. I know that there's a way that you can heat up those plates or something and get some of the grooves and stuff out of them. I don't know how to do that though. Does anybody know how to do that? If you do, leave me a comment about it. I know I asked about it in another video as well, but I don't remember which video that was. But I'm just curious. I know that there's a way to do it where you can, you heat them up, and I don't remember if it's you put them in the oven to heat them up or in the microwave, and well, I don't want to cause a fire. But I'm just curious because you can heat them up and straighten them out, which mine are not that warped. But it also helps to get all of the paper and stuff, the shreds of paper that are in the grooves, helps to get them out. Okay, so this is a little long, so I'm gonna go ahead and trim this. Okay, and this should fit down here. Putting a little bit extra glue on this because there are ridges on that gold paper, and I want to make sure that this stays stuck down. Okay, and then for the sentiment on this, I have a sentiments binder. I got this idea, I believe it was Amy's Wares did this originally, and that's where I saw it from. So basically it's just a binder, and this is a Simple Stories binder. I'm not sure what she uses, but this is Simple Stories, and it has the Simple Stories pocket pages in it. And so this is where I put die cuts at, and strip sentiments, and that kind of thing. And they're sorted out by whatever the saying is. And it just makes it a lot easier to store them that way. So these I picked up from scrapbook.com. These are Pink Fresh Studios foiled sentiments. I don't have a foiling machine or a foiling system or anything like that. I don't think I would use it very much if I had one. So I bought these just to try it out, to see if I liked the sentiments that looked like they were foiled. So since we did gold, we should do gold for the back. And these are, it doesn't say what the category is on these, but there was 43 pieces in this, and they're all different things like have a nice day, thinking of you, happy birthday, you're lovely, shine bright, thank you, cheers. So now it's just a matter of finding one that we think will work. That would cover up too much. I kind of like the get well soon, although I don't think she's been sick. So, but I could make it and send it to her that she could send to somebody else. Because I sometimes do that with my cards too. Kindness is magic. That's pretty cool. And then I could write her a thank you note for making me that beautiful little pin topper for in my glue bottle so my glue doesn't dry out. We'll put that back in here. Not exactly sure how she made this thing, but I love it. I think it's super cute. It kind of reminds me of Alice in Wonderland. For some reason, the heart and like the Queen of Hearts or whatever, it's just that puffy heart. I know that's silly, but anyways, that's what it reminds me of, and I love it. So maybe we'll do this, unless there's a thank you in here. There's all kinds. Oh, hello friend could be nice too. Okay, so there's a thank you for being a friend that's in silver. Thank you for everything in silver. Okay, so apparently I don't have a thank you that's in gold. But that's okay, because you know what? We can do, you know, hello friend fits down there really nicely. And it doesn't cover up the thing. So let's do hello friend. And this still will probably be a thank you card for the beautiful pin topper. So let's pop this up with some dimensionals. I don't know about the white on white. Oh, it'll be okay. Sometimes I overthink things. Do you ever overthink things? I often do. And then I second guess, and then I tear things apart, and then things end up in the garbage, and that's never a good thing. So I try not to overthink things. And we're going to put a bunch of these on here because this is going to go through the mail. And it's got quite a ways to go to get to Charlene. Okay, so let's put a couple of little ones out here. Half up there. Okay, so let's pull the backing off of these ones. I think we will stick it down right there. And how about we add a couple little blingy things? Where's the bag of bling? But the question is, what color do we do them in? Because any one color is going to pull out all the other colors too much. So maybe we do them in white. How about just some white ones? Maybe over here and down here. about like that? I think I could be good with this. Put a little pin topper back in. Thank you again, Charlene, for the beautiful pin topper. Makes my Barely Arts glue bottle look all fancy. Okay, so this is our card. Charlene, I hope you like it. And I hope everybody else enjoyed seeing this one coming together. And again, let me know in the comments about the things that we talked about today. And I hope you'll come back for the next video. Thanks, bye. So if you've made it this far, thank you. I appreciate you sticking around. So this was the paper towel that we ink blended on. And we're gonna do some things with this. Now, if you've watched my previous videos with stenciling these cards for my 7 friends, then you've seen me do some things with this piece at the end. And we're gonna do a little bit of that right now in preparation for another video. So let's get our craft mat out here. We're gonna unlayer this. And I've got some watercolor paper. So I'm gonna put a sheet of this underneath this to start. And then I need to get some backgrounds. So I tend to, every now and then I do a studio day where I restock my card bases, my card panels in all the different sizes. And I go through my scraps and sort out those into strips and other bigger pieces or whatever. I re-ink ink pads, I re-ink Copic markers, I just clean things up and restock things. And on days when I do that, sometimes it takes more than 2 days, or more than a day, more than 2 days. But I tend to also pull out my embossing folders, and I just run several of them off, or several copies of each one, and then I keep them in a folder. So then whenever I want to do a quick technique like this, I can easily just go into that folder, pull out some of the embossed images, and not have to stand there and emboss them all right then. So I've pulled out some. We're probably not going to use all of these, but based upon the colors, probably not the ferns, because that would be funky to have ferns that were pink and blue and turquoise. But I think it could be fun to do clouds, but okay, so I think we'll play with some of these ones. And I did pull out a flower one, knowing that, okay, there is some greenery on here and it's not going to be all the right colors, but I think it could still be pretty. So let's move this over. Okay, so we're going to take and we're going to saturate this down with water. The idea is that I want to pull color off of this, pull the ink off of this onto those embossed panels. So let's go ahead and heavily saturate this. And in the process, it's going to soak down into the watercolor underneath. Wow, look how vibrant that is. So how about we do one of these. Let me grab the piece of parchment paper. Okay, and this is just regular cardstock. This is 80 pound. It's either Nina or Accent Opaque. And we're just going to press this down. Now, because this is getting heavily saturated, I am going to lose a little bit of that 3D texture, but a good bit of it will still be there. And I am going to totally 100% saturate this cardstock, because I want to try to lift as much of the ink color as I can. Everything that I make here with this paper towel, including the paper towel, will be made into cards. And that will be in a video that's coming soon. All right, so let's lift this up and see what we got. That's pretty. That's very pretty. That's better than what I expected it was going to be. Okay, I'm going to put it over here to dry. Let's do another one. Let's do how about some polka dots? That's pretty too. And you know what? I think we're just going to leave it just like this. All right, so let's do this one. I'm going to add some Perfect Pearls water to this. This is just water mixed with, or Perfect Pearls mixed with water, and it'll give it a little bit of a shimmer. And I think we're going to come down. Let's do this side. I think we'll have a better chance of picking up color on the more solid side. Okay, and while we got that one down, let's take this one. And even though this is flowers, let's go ahead and put this one down here. Two at once. Give these a good hard press. Gives it a little more pressure than what my hands can do. I should have done this with the other ones. Now I really flattened out the flowers on this one. That was the only bad part about doing it with the brayer. I hate when my water bottle acts up. My water bottle is saying, nope, we're done. Okay, so let's pull this one up. Okay, we might be able to do something with that. And then let's pull this one up. I like it. Okay, so now this piece of paper towel, just smashing this down into the watercolor paper as much as we can. Okay, we got some of the prints from some of the other cards. So we might be able to chop these up and use them with the other cards. And I am gonna dry this as well to use. Okay, so that's our experiment. And I hope that you'll come back in a couple of weeks whenever we do that video. It'll be something that has to do with cleaning my brushes and making cards. So thank you for sticking around with me for this extra little bit. It was great to have you here, and I hope you'll come back again sometime. Thanks. Bye.